Dear friends, this is Oskelos from the channel The Airshaft from the House of Piedmont, and today we are going to talk about the Thunder Gods, or better, of the Indo-European Thunder Gods, the strike, the sky, and the memory of the bolt. In the Indo-European religious imagination, these two gestures, radiance and rupture, sometimes remain distinct, while sometimes converge, sometimes fuse into a single sovereign presence. To understand the thunder gods of the Indo-European world is not merely to catalogue mythological parallels, is to enter a layered theological stratigraphy, where language, symbol, cognition, and power intersect. The thunder god is not an isolated figure, he is a structural constant, yet one that evolves, recombines, and absorbs all the strata of sky symbolism. To trace him diachronically is to watch Indo-European religion thinking itself through history. Let's start from some linguistic roots. In the 19th century, the comparative philologists try, based on the work firstly of Adalbert Kuhn, to identify the striking recurrence of a storm deity, which slay a serpent and relays the waters. This proto-myth was identified within the Vedic system with the god Indra versus Vrtra and provide the clearest early evidence. Yet the pattern extends well beyond India. They try to reconstruct a Proto-European root for this common thunder god, and in general they look for a root that was connected with the form perku, Indo-European reconstructed form for oak. And from that they try to point out a root form perkunos. Unfortunately, this root perkunos is not sustainable as is not present in all the languages and the phonetic doesn't actually work. Nevertheless, a similar root, the root perku, is found in Lithuanian perkunas and in Latvian perkons. The similar root and a thunder god that's very famous, it's also the Slavic perun, Polish piorun, or perun in other Slavic languages. Nevertheless, one more time, let's not mix the linguistic data between the image of the gods. One more time, the gods may be the same, but the linguistic root that express the gods may be different. As perun, perun, and piorun are mostly related with the root from the verb prati, to strike, or to eat. While the etymology remains debated, yet the semantic fields that dominate it's only one, the striking force and the oak. The latter is not actually accidental. Across Baltic and Slavic territories, in fact, sacred oaks are dedicated to the thunder god. The oak, tall, and sky-reaching is frequently struck by lightning. It stands as an arboreal mediator between above and below. If the name indeed encodes the oak, at least as the Baltic case suggests, the thunder god is not merely atmospheric, it's vertical, he inhabits the axis of the world. Carver Watkins, in 1996, demonstrated that the dragon slaying myth preserved inherent poetic formulas. As the serpent Vrtra, already mentioned in the Vedic context, from the root ver, to cover, to obstruct, is not chaos in abstraction, it is the blockage, the thunder god strike, is the act of unsealing of the water. Thus, from the earliest recordable stratum and sources, the Indo-European myth encodes a drama of abstraction and release. According to Roman Jacobson, the meaning of this linguistic construction found in myth and formulas arise through opposition. The thunder myth operate actually in a grammar of contrasts. Such contrasts can be expressed in formulas as two elements that oppose each other, as the sky against the underworld, vertical against horizontal, strike against cold, release against overt. Again, in the Slavic myth, the thunder god Perun is fighting an opponent, often of a serpentine form, or cattle-associated chthonic being, while in the Norse tradition, familiar to many of us, Thor confronts Jörmungandr, while in the Vedic hymns, Indra shatters the enclosure and releases the water. Bruce Lincoln has argued that such myths encode ideological tension, vertical warrior authority confronting horizontal possession. The serpent coils, it encloses. The thunderbolt descends, it penetrates, it destroys, it strikes. The lightning in this way is not only a mere physical phenomena, it's a semiotic incision. It writes order into the chaotic world. And yet a complication arises. As maybe some of you have noticed, in the Mediterranean culture, the culture of antique world, the thunder gods have a different root that was not related to this hypothetical Perku or Per or Prat. And of course, we are talking about the famous god Zeus and Jupiter. They are also thunder gods. They yield the bolt. They command the storms. Yet their name do not descend from a common root, and possibly their history is quite different. They seems to derive from the root Deus, the bright sky, or the father, the sky father, as even a Vedic source could suggest, meaning the god Dios Peter. The semantic fear here is more towards luminosity, the diurnal sky, a clarity, a brilliance, not the storm, not the rupture, but radiance. This divergence reveals that Proto-Indo-European religion likely contained at least two distinct divine profiles, a luminous sky father, here called Deus, and an atmospheric striker or thunder god that maybe was related to the root Peru. In Greece and Rome, these profiles actually converged. Zeus absorbed the thunderbolt. Jupiter became the garant of law and ardor of lightning. The serene sky became violent when necessary. This is not confusion, it's a synthesis. Diachronically, what we observe is theological integration. Sovereignty assimilates the force of the striker. The Sky Father incorporates the striker's weapon. The result is a god who governs not only by presence, but by intervention. Returning to the bolt, we can discuss that the bolt is not only a meteorological event, it is a sign. In the Roman religion, lightning strikes were interpreted through elaborate divinatory systems. The full moon was the messenger of Jupiter, and Jupiter did not only strike, he also communicated. Here the semiotic dimension deepens even more. The thunder god's weapon became linguistic. The sky inscribes its wheels upon earth. The root Deus give us the bright expanse of order. The root Percu, as may have been, give us the violent incision of such enforcement. When Zeus and Jupiter merged, dysfunction, sovereignty became kinetic. Authority is no longer passive transcendent, but eruptive decision. The gods do not merely shines, they judge us. What the modern cognitive science can help us to understand why the figure of the thunder god is so resilient and powerful. Pascal Bouillet has argued that religion agents succeed when they are minimally counterintuitive, largely anthropomorphic, yet possessing domain-violating capacity. A thunder god fit this template precisely, human-like in agency, superhuman in control over weather. The storm are high salience events, loud, unpredictable, dangerous. The human cognitive system is predisposed toward agency detection under such condition. Lightning easily becomes intentional. Thus, the thunder god is not only a primitive misunderstanding of physics, it is a culturally stabilized solution to a recurrent cognitive inference. It is a force, an intelligent element that decides the destiny of the human being and of human society. If we move slightly to a Celtic world, we can find some evidence through filtered through the Romans' mediation that confirms such a pattern. The Gaulish deity often identifies a Taranis, whose name is related to the thunder, appear with a wheel and sometimes with a bolt. The wheel introduces cyclical symbolism, complementing the linear descent of lightning. If the bolt represents vertical enforcement, the wheel suggests cosmic continuity. Here again, we observe semiotic layering, rotation and strike, cycle and rupture. Even where explicit thunder mythology is sparse, a storm-associated warrior imagery persists in Celtic narrative tradition. The pattern adapts, it may change, but does not disappear. According to Dumersil, the Indo-European society, as we well know, were conceptualized through three functions: sovereignty, warfare, and productivity. The thunder god oscillates between these domains. In some tradition, Baltic, Slavic, Norse, he remains primarily a warrior and a protector, while in Greece and in Rome he became a sovereign. The merger of Skyfather and the Storm Striker may reflect political centralization, juridical authority, and military force unified in one figure. In this way, the myth mirrored the structure of their society. The theological assimilation of the striker into the sovereign may reflect the consolidation of power in early Indo-European derived polities. The thunder god, in this way, it embodies paradoxes. It destroys, yet releases fertility through the rain. It strikes, yet restores the flow of the water. It wounds the sky to water the earth. Mircea Eliade emphasized this archaic symbolism of renewal through the combat, through the universalism, must be ended critically. Indo-European materials support the idea that order is dynamic, not static. It must be reasserted. The thunder god dramatized this reassertion. If the thunder god encodes the force of incision, and the Skyfather the clarity of transcendence, their eventual convergences in Zeus and Jupiter express a mature theological synthesis. Order requires both presence and power. Across millennia, from reconstructed thunder god idea to Perkunas, Peron, Thor, Taramis, Jupiter, the thunder god persists, not as a fossil, but as a center of semiotic energy, meaning. Philology reverse inherited formulas. Semiotic help us to understand the structural opposition, and cognitive science can suggest why the thunder god is still compelling. The thunderer stands at the intersection of languages, lightning, life, society, and human world. Thank you all for listening. Support the channel, put a like, and see you in the next occasion. Buon Piemonte!